Hello, Baruch. How are you this evening?
Jeremy, thank God I'm doing well and excited again to be here with you to have this conversation, be here with you on this show, and especially, of course, because of our guests. How about you? I know you had an interesting night last night.
Oh gosh, don't get me started. This was crazy. Yeah, but here we are again. We are again. We find ourselves in another unique situation where we have to pre-record this audio again. It's kind of crazy, but like our guests are so awesome that it's really hard to just pin them down and get them for the live and everything. But again, once again, we are going to be there live in the comments. Last week was really awesome. It's funny that it's 2 weeks in a row. Don't you
Yeah,
think? That's funny. So we have to be a little bit more cognizant of that, and hopefully we'll have everybody else live. I find that there's two different energies.
yeah.
Once they're live or once they're recorded. But I mean, yesterday, I mean the last time we had it was really incredible. We had over like 60 comments still, so
Yeah.
still interactive. So that was awesome. That was
The
great.
audience shows up regardless, and you know what? They're gaining and they're participating, which is absolutely amazing.
That's exactly it. All right, I think without further ado, I think we should invite our special guest
Let's do
into
it.
the room.
Let's do it.
There he is. How are you, Jan?
Hi guys, how are you? Hi
We
Bar, hi Army.
we are
Thank God doing well.
hello. Thank you so much for showing up, Jan. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much for. I know how busy your time is, and we really appreciate carving out this time. And thank you for just making it work.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.
Got it.
Well, I'm gonna, as always, I get to introduce our guests. So I'm especially excited to introduce you, Jan. A little backstory: I met Jan through one of my coaches. Jan is actually the guy who got me my current car that I'm driving, and God willing, I'll use him just in the future. Um, Jan is, there's certain industries that are known for like a bad name, and Jan takes that. Currently, he works in auto leasing. He takes the name of car sales and he completely breaks the old way that people did things. But I'm going to get off on a tangent. So let me just read off his bio for you right now. Yan Katanov is a man who was never afraid to work to make a living. From the young age of 16, he has run multiple successful businesses, from his own catering staffing business to creating barbershops and his current role of CEO and owner of Optimum Auto Leasing. Throughout it all, Jan has made a point of never seeing anybody as competition, instead choosing to build them up and help others to become successful in the industries that he was in. For Jan, it's all about building relationships and building bridges, and he views his greatest success as being in how many people are better off because of his help. I can tell you from the people that I've spoken to that have met you, Jan, from the person that suggested I reach out to you at the very beginning, you are definitely an exceptionally irresistible person, and I'm honored to have like a professional relationship with you, but now also to have you on as a guest on our show, and I'm extremely excited. But before I continue gushing, because I tend to do that and run off on tangents, why don't you tell us a little bit more about like who you are, what you're about, how you got your start, and how you find yourself to where you are today?
Like I said, like you stated in my biography over here, never afraid to work.
Mhm.
My father always said, don't let work scare you. Let work be scared of you. So
Mhm.
I
Wow.
take that and I take that and I take it with me every day. I hope my kids take that with them every day they go to school. And I mean, that's what it is. I take that from my parents to be a hardworking man and never be scared to do anything. Life is always about ups and downs because if you always have a bunch of ups, it gets really boring. That's why you see
Mm,
a lot of successful people and tend to be not happy having a lot of money because
Mhm.
it's always ups, no interest in life, no interest in nothing. They're always complaining and they're always complaining that they're depressed in something.
Mhm.
But when you have ups and downs in life, you get to appreciate everything because when you lose something and when you gain it back, you hold on to it hold stronger.
wow.
That happened to me in my personal life, happened to me in businesses. From
Wow.
every mistake I done in life, I intend to learn from it. So when I try to tell that to people, people don't learn from it. I always say to myself, they'll learn it on their own because if people learn it on their own from their own mistakes, they'll do better. But if they keep repeating the mistakes, then they tend to fail, just like anything else. And I mean, to shorten things up, that's how I look at life, and I intend to move forward with these things like that.
Wow.
I'm a man of faith, so religion was always a big thing in my life. I always have to thank my grandparents, my parents for that. It's always a big thing in my life. I always have to thank my grandparents, my parents for that. Even though I grew up in Soviet Union, religion wasn't a part of our lives.
Sure.
But where we grew up, our faith was very important to us. Judaism was a core in my house. Holidays like kashrus and keeping kashrut, Passover, Yom Kippur, those things were like set in stone. I didn't even know what that meant. I knew those holidays existed.
Wow.
So to us, even we in Russia, we didn't eat pork, not because we didn't have to eat pork. We didn't even know why we didn't have to eat pork. It was like a guilt inside that would kill us inside. Like that.
Good old Jewish guilt.
Right, the Jewish guilt, So that faith that came, if we were able to keep that in those type of conditions. So when we came to America, this was God's son. So this came with us, and so here we intend to keep it more stronger, and our faith became more stronger and got closer to God. Thank God.
Wow.
And we want to pass that along to our children. So that's why we work even harder to have our children educated in a system that what my parents passed down to me, I'm trying to pass it down in a tenfold to them, because the opportunities are much stronger here.
Right? Yeah.
Wow.
I want to ask you, Yan, just out of curiosity, and I know this is a little bit kind of off topic, but sort of on topic. You mentioned, Baruch read your very impressive bio where you went from different industries, different businesses. From catering to, car leasing. That's quite the jump, quite the journey. I had similar experiences back in my day where I also had multiple different businesses, growing up or whatever in the past. And I get this question very often. I don't know if you do, but I get this question often where, what is it that one of the businesses fail and that's why you went to another business, or, what made you transition between businesses? I'm just curious, what you have to say, and then maybe I'll share what I usually answer.
I'll tell you like this. Thank God every business that I touched, thank God I left something behind and I took something back. I can't say that I failed in every business, because I learned a lot, and I made, some businesses, it depends how you look at it, failed. If a business failed and you lost money and you didn't learn nothing from it, yes, that's a complete failure. But there's some businesses that were there were some businesses that taught you 10 years of business school wouldn't teach you.
Right.
Wow. That's not a failure. That's an education. You could take that education and move on to a better business.
Yeah.
So said that, there were some businesses that I looked at because I thought it was going to be lucrative. I wanted to be in it. Then it was a little bit disappointing. It wasn't what I thought it was. So I moved to something else. And there were some businesses that it wasn't, as my family grew, my financial responsibilities grew. So I had to either move on to other things or maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm like my father. My father moved on to 10 different things, and he had to be successful in 10 different things. So maybe I get bored of things maybe after a little while, as I thought, I know I perfected it, and now I can't grow anymore, but I want to grow, and the cage is already limited. So maybe also one of those things that pushes me out to expand to another business. Like, it's funny you guys say this. In my Optimum Auto, that I already extended the limit where I do, that I'm already getting a little bit bored to an extent where I'm telling my partner, let's go and open up a dealership, because we want to move on to the next level. Sure. And, hopefully, God willing, maybe one of those days you're going to see those billboards, that says Optimum Lexus, Optimum BMW, or, whatever the case.
I like the sound of that. You've already got one customer. So.
Hey, God willing, we're getting there. God willing.
Love it. Absolutely. Actually, funny story is that my mentor, the one who taught me literally everything I know about business, he actually, his specialty was just actually in car dealerships. he only did consulting for car dealerships. He helped them build their teams and their structures and everything. So it's funny you mentioned car dealerships, and that I relate to that. But I hear what you're saying, and it's so true. Because I heard the title named serial entrepreneur. I don't know how much I believe in that kind of title or anything. But I had my businesses. For me, business was always like something something I found fun to do. In a sense, I wanted to do it for fun. Why would I work in something that I didn't enjoy? But for me, it was always like I never saw a business per se that it's going to be forever. Like I never saw any business I've ever worked in as a forever job. I said, this is what it is now. This is where I'm here now. I needed this specific thing now. And so I ran a business for that temporary period of time. And when I was done, I was done. I moved on. For example, my sunglasses business. I had a sunglasses and a watch business. I was going through a tough time. I needed some money just very quickly. I needed to do a move. So I knew basically how much money I needed. I bought sunglasses, I bought watches, sold them, and made the money I needed to do and moved on. And, looking back, wow, I did it really well, and it was lucrative, it was good, but I never saw myself as, running a sunglasses business or a watch business or whatever.
That's something you basically grew up thinking I'm going to do for the rest of my life. I want to run a sunglasses business.
Right, exactly that. So, yeah, if there was a situation where something grew on something, then yeah, why not write it? But exactly like you say, sometimes we change in life depending on whatever our position is. And I think that really ties in to what we're talking about today, where the topic is trust is belief and faith. You started talking about it, that that your belief system and your faith system helped you establish some core values. It sounds like to me. That's how I interpret what you were saying. It set you up for anything that you're doing. And I mean, just hearing what Baruch has to say about you, and he sings your praises all the time. It sounds like your core values really, really drive you.
If you don't have anything that you could live by, you get to end up loose everywhere. You have no direction. If you set something in stone and you believe in it and you live by that, I believe you're gonna do well in life. You need to have a belief system. You need to have a faith. Even those people that disappoint you, even the people that you believed in, the people that you put trust in, and they disappointed you, it doesn't mean that the next person is going to be the same.
Right.
I have came across people that they're so, when I come across and I see how they treat people that they supposedly trust, they supposedly have faith in, but the way they doing it's like having a 24-hour KGB agent in his right pocket. Because the last guy did this to me and this that to me and this is this. It doesn't necessarily mean that the next guy is the same thing as the last guy. If you truly, that person inside that you believe in, if you have that faith inside that you believe like that, you're always going to treat the next person the same way you treated the first person. That person who doesn't have that type of a faith in people is because he just did it because that first guy earned his trust by 20 years of working backwards and doing everything. After 20 years, he put his trust into him. And then on the 21st year, he screwed him over. And that's it. He doesn't have faith anymore in people. Those people intend to have no trust in anybody. And I would not like to be his friend. I want to stay away from people like that. But if you trust in people and you believe in and they disappointed you, it doesn't matter. The next person doesn't mean it will do the same. You always got to have faith. You always got to have trust in people. And when you have that belief in you, when you trust yourself more and you believe in yourself and you do the right thing by yourself, it's intends to work out. Between, like I was telling Baruch, and all my ventures and my businesses and my industries, thank God, Baruch Hashem, thank God, till today, I could walk around with my head high.
Yep.
Wow.
I walk into any industry because I didn't burn a bridge. Did not burn a bridge. I walked away on good terms. I could pick up a phone, say hello, say goodbye. They could call me for something they need. I could call them for something I need. And life goes on. But if I would have burned the bridge over there, or they, like, it just doesn't get us anywhere.
Sure.
Life is to move on nicely when everybody is on a nice level and the trust is there. Everybody believes each other. When people intend to be a little bit like snakes,
Yeah.
so you cross them off your life, but you can't make believe that everybody's like that anymore. That means the next person is normal again. There's always tends to be one, but it doesn't mean the next one's like that.
Right.
I love that.
Wow, it's really powerful.
And if you guys all employed business, and employed people, I'm pretty sure you guys had ups and downs. You had some good people, you had some bad people. But at the end of the day, you didn't think that all of them were bad because one stole. You didn't think that all 9 of them were stealing.
Right.
Or sometime boss sees one steals, then at the end of the night he has a metal detector X-ray machine, and these guys can't even go to the coffee machine without being X-rayed.
Right.
Because then this guy doesn't trust himself. Not that he doesn't trust 9 other people.
Wow.
That's just.
I totally agree.
It tends to work out, believe me, guys. I had a lot of failures in life, but if I would have just never believed in people again, God forbid, hang myself, depressed, thinking that life is over. You just got to constantly go on and believe in people. That's all.
Yeah. So I actually want to bring up something that you mentioned on our private call. I think it was Thursday. One of the things you mentioned just now was not burning bridges and that allowing people to always reach out to you. That was something that I had experienced at one of the schools I worked at. I worked there for 4 or 5 years, and then I left, and we left on pretty good terms. And I didn't think they were good terms, but I guess in the end, thank God they were good terms, because throughout the next 2 years, the principal of that school kept reaching out to me, asking me for input and advice, and how do I, I'm looking for this type of person, etc. So from personal experience, I can definitely relate to that. But then one of the other things you said on our private call the other night was you mentioned how, like, the first business you started was when you were 16 years old. It was the staffing business for the catering industry. And you said something that you saw that some of the guys that you were employing were doing like a side hustle. They were trying to, build the business on their own, or I don't know the exact specifics. And you took the approach of, hey guys, why don't you just take over the staffing business? Where you could have gotten mad at them, you could have gotten angry, you could have fired them, you could have done this thing that so many other businesses out there do, where they find that their employees are going for a side hustle, they try to get rid of them. But instead, what you did is you kind of turned it over, where you gave them the opportunity to run your business.
But you think that I did this because I'm some sort of a genius? I just looked at the mathematics. Why would I'm going to go there and throw them out, and eventually they're going to start their own thing? They already worked in my industry. They already know the caterers that feed me the work. So why would I create this competition? For what? So I just came over and I said, guys, the mathematics work for me. Buy me out. Here's the keys. I'm out.
I love that approach. Yeah.
It's simple.
It's incredible.
Thank God,
That's the thing. It's so simple.
I made money while I ran it. And when I walked away, I put money in it. But if I would have started fighting with them, I might have just closed my doors because they were a little bit more ambitious. There was 3 of them. I was alone. They would have taken this to the next level, where I would have just been lazy and still worked it at the level I did work it.
Right.
So the numbers, the mathematics, all these things, and plus the stress. Oh my God, my mom's not going to give birth to me twice, only one.
I love that one.
You let it go. The bird already wants to fly. Okay, you let it fly. You let the hands open. Put some money in your pocket while it's there. That's it.
Wow.
So true. So true. So true. I love it. I love it. And, it's funny you talk about this, it's all in the numbers. It's the equation. If you look on the screen, it says trust equals belief and faith. I see it as an equation. And in a little bit in the pre-show, when we were warming up, we started talking a little bit about how everything builds on top of each other, the belief, the faith, and then the trust and everything. So I want to give you the opportunity to sort of like help us break it down a little bit. Help us break down. You seem to be good with numbers. You thought about it at 16. You act quick. I love it. So let's break it down a little bit. I want to hear a little bit. Let's say, what is belief? So let's take it from there. Let's start from there. You were saying a lot that you believe in people, not necessarily will people burn your bridge, or I want you to expand a little bit more about a belief system in general.
When I put a when I say I believe in people, I mean I believe in the sense that people are we are decent human beings. So every day when I go outside, whether I see a homeless person, whether I see a successful person, whether I see it doesn't matter, you know, a person. I believe in a human race. I don't believe that all people are you know, mean, a devil, you know, a-holes in some senses. I don't believe in that. I believe that everybody, all people are humans, and we all, and I believe in every one of them, that they have good in them. I believe that they don't, you know, every one of them, that you could get to a person that she has, you know, all the intent in life is good. So that's the belief I have in people, that deep down in people's today and any time, that the people intent is good, that they want to do well for themselves. I don't believe that a person, even a junkie outside, I don't believe that he wakes up in the morning that he wants to burn someone's life or he wants to hurt somebody. His intent down is good. It's just sometimes, you know, there's some demons that take over that intent. But the intent inside is good. The core is good. So that's when I say I believe in people. I believe that goodness in people, it comes out. Sometimes you gotta find it. Sometimes you gotta fight through it, but it's there. Humans will have that intent. Goodness, it's there. If a person has it, you could move mountains with him. And most people have it. That's my, when I say belief. That's how I look at it, in the human belief.
Baruch, as an educator, what do you have anything to add on that one?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, you know, we talk a lot about that
because that's essentially, you know, as an educator, you know, and but again, as a person, like you naturally want to believe that an individual is good, and especially in education, where how many students actually want to be in school? So if they don't want to be there to begin with, so now they're going to start acting out. So it's not that they are bad; it's that their actions are expressing their emotions. So then it's about understanding where they're coming from, and that even, you know, even in the business world, it's understanding, well, your employees probably want to be there. If they're not performing to a certain level, if they're acting in a certain way, understanding, you know, why is that? So we have to get everybody back to that core. And like Jan was saying, you know, everybody innate, I wrote down as everybody's innately decent, right? So if somebody is not being decent, if somebody's not being good, well, then what do we need to do to pull that out of them? What do we need to do to scrape off the mud, to get rid of the dirt, to allow them to be that good individual that they're being, or that they need to be? And then at the end of the day, as with everything, that comes back to us, is then who do we need to be? What do we need to change about ourselves to bring that out in somebody? I know that if my students aren't behaving, there's something there that I need to change in myself, because, you know, this concept of mirroring, they're just showing what I'm putting out there. And I've seen it. You know, I was having really rough weeks, as we spoke about previously. And then I took my personal day. I came back and things are better. They're not perfect, but they're better because I'm being a better teacher. I'm being a better individual. And it's the same thing in business. It's the same thing in relationships. It's the same thing even in religion and in faith. Is, you know, God is going to give us what we're showing him we're ready for, and what we're showing him we want. And we have to make that first step in everything, and then allow people and give people the space and the time to change. So those are my thoughts on it. But there's so many like golden nuggets that have been dropped, even like the first 3 minutes. I don't know who caught it. Like there's a 2 or 3 lines you said there, Jan, at the very beginning that I was just like, okay, that's going in the recap. So yeah,
I'm gonna throw something in that you mentioned your students.
Yes.
I have an employee. Well, I don't want to call him an employee. I don't. He's about 70 years old. He's bored at home. Very educated guy. His English is a little. I mean, his background. He's from India, so he's been in the country about 30 years, but he can't kick the accent. So you know, it's there. So when he gets on the phone, it sounds like he's eating French fries. You know, it's very hard to take apart what he's saying. It's like rah rah rah. You know. So he has and he's the only reason he's by me because he's bored at home. Yeah, he's like, yeah, I'm retired. I sold him a car. He lives down the road from us. He's like, yeah, I'm retired. Can I come and hit the phones? Maybe make a couple of car sales. By all means, come in.
Wow.
He's been there for about 6 months.
Mm.
And his wife called me the other day and says, "Aren't you sick of my husband? He hasn't made one car sale. Can you send him home?" I said, "First of all, I don't ask him to come in. He wants to come in, by all means. There's a desk for him.
Mm-hmm.
And second of all, I said, by the way, he's closing a deal in a day or two." She's like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah, because I believed in this man for 6 months.
Wow.
I believe he was going to close the deal because he wants to do it.
Yeah.
He's showing it to me. He wants to do it. So that's why I believe I gave him that. I didn't give up on him. I gave him the phone to use. Every day I gave him a new lead to hit. I
Wow.
believe in the man. And look, it's paying off.
Wow.
Wow.
I would have given up on him 2 months from now. You know, nothing would have happened. But you put a belief in anything, and you believe in any human being. I believe that you're gonna get something back.
Wow.
That's just the way God made us. I think all of us.
That's exactly it, and that's what I was hoping, to get out of this. And you guys both hit the nail on the head. I mean, it's funny because just earlier this morning I was on LinkedIn and just commenting and interacting with some people. One of our common audience members, Tracy, she was mentioning something about the behavior. So we are not the behavior that we behave. And that really hit home because it ties into a program, one of the programs that I developed. It's called One Up. And One Up was developed in the prison system. And when I was working in the prison system, I was dealing with like the worst of the worst, like the worst people that you could imagine. But one thing that helped me work with them and do my job effectively well was that I didn't see them just as whatever the title was given to them. We spoke about this a couple of weeks ago. It wasn't the title. They behaved a certain way. Now they're paying for their behavior. But inside, deep down, I believe that people at their core are good people. And the more I show them that belief, you would see massive transformation. It took time, but you would see, like I'm telling you, I know of a murderer, and he's actually a pretty famous murderer. He was a murderer. He murdered somebody. Very, very famous case and whatever. But I was working with him, and I saw the transformation of this guy. He's a really nice guy now. Like it's incredible to see how a person transforms. It took years. Don't get me wrong. Um, but if you watch his video of when he was in the court case laughing and just like you see the video, you see a disgusting person. But when you actually dig deep and you show him that you believe in him, you build it, and you work on this guy. Like I say, like sometimes you have to scrape the guck sometimes.
Right.
And like you were saying, here's a guy who really wants to make a sale, but he has somebody who believes in him. I think that's a bedrock. I think that's where it all starts.
I want to add something. It's also its belief in not where they are right now, but in where they could be. And that's with an individual person, but also again with a business or a relationship or whatever it may be. It's right now we may be here, but do I believe that we can be there? Do I believe that I can be there? Do I believe that the business can get to where I want it to be? I just wanted to add that because that's what was coming up from both of you.
Here's what I think. I think that really ties into our next question because that's more I have faith that that's where it's going to lead to. I'm investing this belief. I'm starting off with a belief, and then I have faith that this person will see my belief in him and grow from it and transform. Hopefully, I mean, I need faith for that.
Well,
So I think that breaks. Go ahead, Yan.
belief and faith works together. If you don't have belief, you don't have faith. If you don't have faith, you won't have belief. So if you believe, like you said, it's definitely that means you have faith in the guy. So once the belief part comes through and it kicks in, now the faith is there. Now this guy sees the world through your eyes. He has faith in you. That's it. And I have faith in him now because I know that if I need him sometimes, he'll be there. My faith is in him. And the same way, vice versa. Because I believed in the man. His own wife didn't believe in him, but I believed in him. So all these two things link together because one doesn't work without another. Right. I think those two things definitely work together.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what I was burning towards. Jan, you have faith in this guy, and that's why he still has the desk in your office. If you didn't have faith in the guy would be you'd listen to his wife and send him back home. I mean, there's
Absolutely.
no purpose to have him there. You know, yeah, you could believe in the guy because he wants to do it or whatever, but the bottom line is that he's not closing sales. But the way you said it before, I loved how you said that you created an energy of like, no, of course he's closing a sale in the next few days. He's closing a. I believe that the faith part is where we take it a step further. We see the person for who they are, and now we see the potential. We see the growth that they are capable of doing. I mean, who believes in somebody who's not performing and still gives them that opportunity, gives them that push?
Uh, I think that if a person that has faith and belief in people has to be optimist. What do you call that?
Yeah, optimal. Yeah.
Optimistic. Yeah.
Optimistic. I'm
Mhm.
sorry, my English is a little ESL level, but I'm working on it. If you're not optimistic, it's very hard to have faith or belief into anything. So
Mm.
those people that intend to have hard time in life is the ones that are optimistic. So those are the ones who will never have faith, never have belief, and never anything else. So you could teach somebody how to have belief, maybe how to faith, maybe how to trust to somebody. But if that
Mm.
person is not optimistic, it's going to be very tough.
Wow.
So
Yeah, absolutely.
optimism is a very, very core of faith and belief. Because if you're optimistic, you're gonna have that faith in it, in that person. Because sometimes, most of the times, employers or well, people in general will tend to judge by their appearance.
Mm.
So if you're not an optimistic person, 9 out of 10 you're gonna refuse whether it's a date, whether it's an employee, whether it's a student, whether it's anything. You're gonna if he looks like he just woke up and rolled out of a laundry machine and showed up in front of you, you're gonna have one image about him. But if you're an optimistic, you're gonna have that faith in this kid. You're gonna have that belief in him. That's how I look
Right.
at it. I mean, maybe
Oh,
I'm wrong. I'm
absolutely.
sorry, but that's like you said. Everybody has their own opinion. So this is my opinion about things.
No,
That
that's excellent.
optimism is a very important thing of life. So faith and belief work with optimism very close together.
Is that why it's called Optimum Auto? I'm just,
No,
I'm just
no, that was me scratching my head and thinking, if I'm going to open on Long Island, what's a household name? Optimum Cable happens to be a household name on Long Island.
gotcha.
Smart.
Smart. So
Wow.
you're playing with the optimism and you're playing with the household item. Got it.
Trying to link two together. But you're right. You know what? I might even throw that into my website now. You're right. Never thought of it that way.
For
So
sure.
I want to ask you a question, Jan, because when we started, I believe it was when we were already recording, you were talking about belief and faith, and this is something a lot of people do, where they talk about faith from like a religious perspective, like their faith is Judaism or Christianity or Buddhism, or they attach faith to God, and you clearly have a very strong faith-based religion and faith-based in your religion. So what I'm wondering is, because a lot of people, they'll go from a place like where you came from, and you said Soviet Union, and they'll come to America where things are easier. And so oftentimes with us, we're coming from a place of discomfort to a place of comfort, and we kind of get lax and lenient. On the contrary, you came from a place where things were tough, and then you brought that kind of that work ethic, that I'm blanking on the word, but that same strength in your faith there, and you brought it here. So I'm wondering, what are the connections between your strength and your faith religiously and the faith that you have and here in like the work environment or in the business world? I don't know if that question is making sense, because my brain's getting way ahead of me.
I mean, I like to deal with people that have religion in their house. It doesn't matter what you believe in, whether any religion. I don't care what you believe in. The reason that I like dealing with people that have religion in their house is because if they have God, whether it's a piece of rock they believe in, it's fire, it's somebody spiritually, that person has some sort of a goodness in him. So
Mm-hmm.
that's like when I used to be in the gold buying industry, in the jewelry business, I would go and I would give somebody the thing, and I would judge him based on the way he looked because he looked religious.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody would say, "Yo, what are you doing? You just left $10,000 item. You didn't take anything from it." I said, he looks like man of fear of God. He fears God." And I would walk away with that intent in my head. Because
Wow.
saying that man fears God, he's not going to go and do it. He's not going to go and
Wow.
steal. And that's my faith. And that's how I looked at things. So,
Wow.
and religion to me is very important, because if people have religion in life, it's like direction in every home.
Mm.
Whether it's a Muslim home, whether it's a Christian home, whether it's a Buddha home, whether it's whatever home. If you even look and you see a religious home, intends to have direction in life for everybody. Respect, direction, a good, peaceful family, a nice where a father could keep his head up and sleep normal. So for me, faith in people, faith in religion, and all these things kind of work together for me. They all link. I would love to work with somebody who has faith in God versus somebody who is an atheist. Nothing against those people. It's just I intend to find them a little bit. They have the goodness in them, and that's how I look at it. That somebody that believes in God that has a lot of good in it. And then for me, faith. I don't know if I answered your question directly, because now my brain went 1,000 miles an hour. Thank you for that, by the way.
You're welcome for that. No, but what I got from it though was that your faith, your spiritual faith, your religious faith, has given you, I guess this will kind of lead into the next part, has given you the ability to have faith and trust in others, because it's no longer about you and that individual. It's you're bringing God into the picture, and God's going to take care of it.
Exactly.
So that to me, that's what I got from it.
Exactly.
Right. And I hear the exact same thing. I hear that, number one, and I see how this is a progression, Jan. If you what you're saying, number one, you believe that people at their core are good people. That's number one. Number two, that belief system that you've developed enables you to give them chances, enables you to give them a certain level of benefit of the doubt, let's call it. Okay. Why? Because you have faith that somebody at their core who's good and who demonstrates that good, let's say, I'm hearing from what you're saying is that anybody who has some form of faith-based, whatever it is that they follow or whatever it is somebody who's trustworthy, or is potentially trustworthy, simply because they have certain levels of core values that enable that original belief system that you had. So I am seeing that progression, from I believe people are good at their core, especially if they have some form of faith-based core value, whatever it is that they follow, doesn't matter what they follow. And you tend to respect that. And that sounds like that's what leads you up to that trust realm, which in a second we're going to go into that element of this discussion. But correct me if I'm wrong, if that's what I understood correctly, what you were saying.
You're saying it. I mean, if my English was good, I would probably say it the way you would say it. But look, I have a live witness, which is Baruch. And after a couple of conversations with Baruch, and Baruch could tell you, he didn't, when on the first phone call and the second conversation with me on the phone, and me and him didn't even see face to face. You know when I saw Baruch's face? When I saw his driver license.
Wow.
That's when I saw it. But he still didn't see my face. But on the second conversation with him, me and him were talking like we're buddies that we've known each other for many years.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. He told
me. I passed my phone number along to him, could attest to that same type of a conversation. I intend to leave those conversations on those friendly level. I don't look at my customers as friends. I don't look at them as customers. I look at them more like I leave it on the friendly level, because that faith, again, because that belief in people, because of that, again, that faith and belief that takes me a long way and gets me to become successful. I like burning bridges, just like that. Like tomorrow, 10 years from now, Baruch might become the next Jay Leno. I don't know. I pick up the phone. I'm going to say, "Hey, Baruch, can I get on TV?" I'm pretty sure he will say no.
That's true. You
You know,
never know.
One
Yeah.
second. Of all people, why Jay Leno?
We sell cars.
I'm sorry, I haven't watched TV like in 2 years with this Corona stuff. I apologize. I'm a little off with the name. I apologize.
I'm like,
Hey,
is it
Jan, you
something?
know what? I'll be the Jay Leno. Let's become
All
friends.
right. David Letterman. I'm sorry. There you go.
That's awesome.
But it's so true. I mean, it really. Again, let's jump right into it. You know, it really is about that trust, and trust is something that is so easily broken, so easily. It's such a sensitive thing. I think, you know, a little secret. I don't know if I'm allowed to share it, but well, oopsies, kind of thing. Barak and I are actually in middle of designing a course called the 7 Levels of Trust. How basically trust is built and how trust is strengthened. Um, there are 7 levels of it. You know, we'll leave it to surprise for when people want to actually learn more about it. But um, but it's really about that. It's really about, you know, you have to believe in something, you have to have a faith in something, and only that could feed ultimately trust. I think is an end goal, something that's developed and built over time. You don't just throw your trust into something, um, but like you were mentioning, you know, you treated Baruch so well that now he trusts you so much that he feels comfortable with you. You know, that's ultimately what it sounds like, and he trusts you when it comes to cars, and that's kind of like,
Yeah.
right.
But Barak, look at my background. Nothing in my background says that I was anything to do with cars.
No.
I never even changed the tire in my life. Don't tell that to anybody, though, okay? But again, you know, it doesn't matter what you do in life. It's just who you are. If you have certain things set on your own, on certain things set on you, that I have certain standards I go base, how I look at people, how I look at life, how I look at business, how I look at everything that I do. I think you intend to do well. I mean, the coaches that you referred to me, let me tell you, you know, whatever those guys doing, wow,
Yeah.
wow, you know, they're and the reason they're doing what they're doing is because they had levels. They have certain things. They have standards on certain things.
Right.
I need to do it this way. I need to do it that way. I believe you guys have a whole playbook with that thing, right?
Yeah,
Baruch?
100%. Yeah.
There's a whole playbook of what to do. So each individual has to set up certain type of a playbook for himself.
Right.
Standards. This is
Guidelines. Yeah.
guidelines. This is who I am.
Yeah.
And then I think you'll be very successful in life. You'll achieve that belief, that trust, that faith that you're looking. You know, you'll achieve all of that if you set certain standards in your life.
I love that.
That's I think every individual needs to do that. And I wasn't like that myself at all. Meaning that on a certain level, like of saving up and maybe growing in life financially. I happen to have a friend who just literally walking with him, and he was teaching me these things. He said you always got to grow in life, because if you stay at a certain level, you just get too bored. You lose interest in everything, and you'll be that standard person. You always need to look an opportunity to grow. So when I took his advice, and this guy is literally maybe a few months younger than me, you know, and I took his advice, and he's right. You know, when I wake up every morning, I have an intent to grow. It puts a lot of faith, and that gives me more faith in people, and because I want to grow, so that means I have to hire more people. That means I have to now put more trust in people. I have to put my faith in people. Now I have to believe in people, and you know, it's all connected to one another. It just goes like that. So those things all come together and makes you a better person and sets you standards. You have standards now. Now I know I need to, you know, this is what this guy needs to do for me to really throw him off the bridge. He literally needs to come over and take an axe and chop off my 4 toes for me to take him and throw him off the bridge. So that was his standard. So you know what? That's how bad he has to F up for me to give up on him. So if you set up those standards, I believe you will succeed in life.
Wow.
I think so. I don't know. I haven't been there. I'm not there yet. But I'm getting there. Small little letters, but I'm getting there, you know?
Well, what's incredible is this is proof positive. The famous marketing saying, people buy into you, they don't buy into your business.
That's right.
Like you could be an ice cream salesman and I'd be going to you, because it's the core values. It's the level of belief, faith, and trust that I have in you as an individual and as a business person, that no matter what you went to next, like, again, I would sooner go to one of your barbershops than I would to somebody else's. I mean, so the funny story is, I actually have a friend who's a Bukharian guy, and he's a barber, and he came and gave me a he came and gave me a haircut, and I asked him for a buzz cut. He's like, no, I'm not. Well, no. First he said, okay, I'll give you a buzz cut, and then he didn't give me a buzz cut, and he gave me one of these fancy stylized haircuts, and it almost cost me a job. But it was just like a funny thing between him and I. But again, like, I would sooner go to one of your barbershops that you built up, that you owned at one point, than I would to somebody else, because of who you are as an individual. And I think that's something for all of us to know, is that when we have those core values and the belief and the faith and the trust, we bring that wherever we go, whatever industry we're in. You know, whether we're extremely wealthy or extremely dirt poor, you know, God willing, we should all be extremely wealthy. But wherever we go, as long as you have that people will buy into that, and they'll support you through that, no matter what you're doing. So that was again proof positive of this statement, that people buy into you before they buy into your business.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and you know, I love that we're ending up on this note where, you know, it's about that system that you created. You know, what I heard about Yan, and especially how you followed up, Baruch, that you know Yan through the car sales stuff, and then you're talking about his, you know, his hairdressing stuff, you know. And what I'm hearing is that just Yan, what he ultimately did, and this is something that I cannot scream it louder at the top of my lungs. I tell people, it doesn't matter what business you're in. It depends on all about the system you create. You see, so the way I help people, the way I partner up with business owners, is to improve their operation systems. And to improve their operation systems simply means, what are your core values? What's your mission? What's your vision? What are you trying to accomplish? And put that all into a system that actually works and that drives your business forward. And Yan is that perfect example. He's really that highlight example of this. Doesn't matter what business Yan is in, he follows his core values. That's something we've established in the beginning. He believes in his people. He has faith in his people. He builds a trust between him and his people and the people back at him. And he has, and Yan, you said the last thing, how it all really works in together, where you have like a book of rules in a sense. You have a guidebook that keeps you forward. And I'm gonna go one more step further. I hear that it holds you accountable as a business owner. That no matter wherever you are, you hold yourself responsible to these guidelines, that you have to follow these rules, and that in a sense, not guarantees, but that in a sense drives you to your understanding of your success.
It makes your life a little easier, because then it takes the blame game away.
Right. Right.
You know, life gets a little difficult when something doesn't work your way. You intend to blame people. You say, oh, it's his fault because I did this. Oh, it's his fault because I listened to him, or whatever the case is. When you start taking responsibility for everything that happens in your life, it's your fault. Sure. Because end of the day, it was you who made the final decision. It just becomes easier. So based on those standards in the book, so, you know, everything that happens, I know that I effed up somewhere along the way. It's my fault. It's not his fault. It's my fault. When I say that, you know how much stress that takes away from your life? You know, that alone is worth $1 million. Because when you try to blame somebody, oh, forget about it. It just takes you to the
never ends. Yeah.
Sure. If you take responsibility, it's over. It's dead right there. Problem's over. It's solved. That's it. Simple.
Yeah. Again, this is wow. I'm so grateful, Yan, that this is how we are closing off our show here. You know, we are at 50 minutes, so we're doing not that bad, actually. Just a quick reminder to everybody, you know, we want to hear your voice. Obviously, those who are on the live show right now, who are commenting, thank you so much. Your voices are so super, super important. Unfortunately, this is a pre-recorded interview, so we're not interacting with the comments as of this moment. But Baruch and I, we will be there live, and we will comment, and we will interact with you. However, we definitely want to see you tomorrow, Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on our Clubhouse, where we continue this conversation. And we want to hear your voice, your input, what you've learned, what you've gotten from it. So far, the past few weeks, the clubhouses have been on fire. It has been incredible. We had what we call our fire chats. Huge, incredibly valuable information was going on over there. And Baruch and I, and correct me if I'm wrong, Baruch, but we walk away learning so much from our guests and from our audience and from everybody. And that's also why we also opened up the club, the Exceptionally Irresistible Club on LinkedIn, so that we could continue that discussion there as well. So thank you all for joining on this incredible journey. That's ultimately what it is. You guys make all this happen. It's all about you. So on my behalf, at least, I want to end off saying thank you to everybody. Thank you, Yan. Baruch, any last words before we end?
Jeremy, you said it all. Again, thank you to all those who are watching this. Thank you for bearing with us. Again, it's the truth of the matter is the fact that it's recorded only takes a little bit away. So I'm not even like, you know what? We're looking forward to more live shows, but I know you guys got incredible. I'm blinking value from Yan. I know that every time I get off the phone with Yan, I walk out of my room and my wife looks at me like, why are you so happy? And it's just because it's such invigorating conversations. If you're in the Yan, you'll have to correct me about this, but if you're on the East Coast and you're looking to buy a car, you're looking to lease a car, Yan is definitely the guy. I remember when I was looking to get a car, I didn't care what it was. I needed something that was affordable and I needed something that would get me where I needed to go. And I called Yan, and we went back and forth, and I was talking about leasing, then I was talking about buying, and Yan was not a problem either way. It was totally fine. I remember you even called me because I think you were going to be getting me a red Kia Soul, and you called me back and you were worried because they didn't have it and they only had a cherry black. And I'm like, what do I care? I just need a car with 4 wheels. But the fact that you put in that action, you cared so much about what I wanted. Yeah. So again, if you're on the East Coast and you're looking for a car lease or to purchase a car, Yan is your guy. If you're looking for a great conversation with an awesome and exceptionally irresistible person, give Yan a call. Yan, thank you so much for taking the time. I know that today was a rough day. I know that there's lots of back and forth. I'm glad we were able to get you in. I'm glad we were able to have this conversation with you. And I personally look forward to following your journey, your next endeavor, and continuing to learn from you as well. And we'll put all your links, all your contact info and everything in the show notes so that people can follow up with you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me on. Jeremy, it was a pleasure. Baruch, it was a pleasure. Thank you, guys. Enjoy. See you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you all. Thank you, everybody, for joining, and we will see you next week. Have a good